by the way, if you want to practice this on your own, this part is drawing 31A072 on page 320 in your blueprint reading workbook, and I made a couple of modifications to it. I added this this round groove, okay, and you could just go into your part because you drew the same part earlier in the semester. You can go into your part and add this groove yourself, and you can practice this. I also deleted the threaded holes so this view would be less busy, but you did this earlier in the semester, created this part. So if you want to practice for the exam, you can do that very easily on your own, and you can reproduce the same layout that you see here. You may also need to create sketch lines in order to properly place the dimensions. So, for example, you click on a view, select Create Sketch, and let's say we wanted to place an angular dimension between here and here. We really should draw a line in here that we can dimension from. So let's project geometry, and we can project the center point of both of these circles by pressing on the circle's edge, and then we can draw a line from center point to center point. And once we've done that, we can trim so the center mark shows up appropriately. Finish sketch, and now I can go in and place an angular dimension between here and the center mark that we placed earlier. Okay, so once we've done that, we can edit the dimensions. So 120 is not a sufficient amount of information because we have a third holes here. So let's put 3 times 120. So I'm going to use the left arrow, so my cursor is in front of the gray box, and then press 3 and then X space, and you can see that this displays properly. And let's say that we wanted this to be a basic dimension. We could go on the Precision and Tolerance tab, select Basic, and Basic, of course, is the dimension type that has a rectangular box around the dimension, and then select OK. Sometimes you'll need to add sketch lines for datum identifiers or feature control frames. Okay, so let's say that we needed this in this case. Now again, you'll be looking at a handout, and you'll just have to reproduce the handout on the final exam, but you can click on the view and then select Create Sketch. Now we need to project some geometry again. Oh, it's getting in the way there. Now when you're doing an extension line from an object edge like this, you really should have a 1/16 of an inch gap between the extension line you're creating and the object. So you'd want to start your line somewhere in here, for example. Okay, and then once you've drawn the line, you can select Finish Sketch. And let's say we wanted a feature control frame associated with this surface. Okay, this surface is this line, this extension line is referencing this edge. So let's add a feature control frame under the Symbols panel. You can select the feature control frame here. Now by default, it will probably want to place a leader line. Okay, that's fine. Just click anywhere really, and then you can right click and select Continue, and then you can manipulate the feature control frame to show what's appropriate. Okay, you can change the symbols here. If this particular surface is also a datum, you can identify it as such here. If it's referencing a datum, you can put it here, so on and so forth. If you need to change the precision or the tolerance, you can do that here. Or if you have some modifiers like maximum material condition, least material condition, or projected tolerance zone, so on and so forth, you can manipulate all that information here. So then you can just click OK, and there you have your feature control frame. And if you need to move it, you can. Okay, so you can drag it into place. Okay, if you need to add a datum identifier, you can do that under the Symbols panel on the Annotate tab as well. So you can click on the edge where you want to identify the datum, and you can change the shape of it as well. Once you get the shape how you like it, you can just enter the information. If it needs to be datum F, then you can change the text there, and it'll make it datum identifier F. Okay, you also need to know how to use the leader text command. I'm going to go back over to my model real quick, and I'm going to add a fillet here of, I'm going to make this 0.0625. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over to my layout, and now normally if you were going to dimension this, you would you would just use the dimension command. Okay. Now this is not an appropriate way to label this. I'm using this show just as a demonstration. Okay. Let's say that you had two items that you were trying to point out and you wanted to use the dimension tool. Okay. So you place the dimension, and then you want to add a leader line that points over here. Again, this is not how you would dimension this radius. I'm trying to just use this as an example. So if you try to right click and add vertex or leader, you won't see it available. Okay. So sometimes it's necessary to use the leader text. Okay. So so with the leader text, I can go in and manually create this. I can go in and put R 0.0625 or whatever I want to put there. Okay, and then I can right click on the leader and select add vertex leader. Okay, and then I could go over to whatever other item I'm trying to point out, and then I could go back and click the original leader, and then I have that leader pointing at two different items. Again, this is not the way this should be dimensioned, but I ran out of ideas on ways to demonstrate this. Okay, so anyway, that's how you can add a vertex or a leader to an existing leader.